Radio waves are a type of electromagnetic radiation, with wavelengths longer than infrared light. The first radio broadcast was in the early 1900s, and it dramatically changed the way we receive news and entertainment. AM and FM stand for amplitude modulation and frequency modulation, respectively. Radios were once considered luxury items and were quite expensive in the early 20th century. The term radio originates from the Latin radius, meaning beam of light or spoke of a wheel. During WW2, radio was a key tool for propaganda and information dissemination. The transistor radio, introduced in 1954, made radios portable and changed music consumption forever. Car radios were initially considered a distraction and faced opposition from some quarters. Shortwave radios can receive broadcasts from thousands of miles away due to the ionosphere's properties. Marconi, often called the father of radio, sent the first transatlantic radio signal in 1901. Satellite radio offers clearer reception by broadcasting signals from satellites in space. Radios don't need a power source to operate. Crystal radios run purely on the power of the received radio wave. The golden age of radio was in the 1930s and 1940s, when it was the dominant electronic home entertainment medium. The first radio jingles were introduced in the 1920s, and they forever changed advertising strategies. Radio astronomy uses radio waves to study celestial objects, including stars and galaxies. Internet radio uses streaming technology, allowing listeners to tune in from anywhere with an internet connection. The first FM radio station launched in 1939, offering better sound quality than AM stations. Radio DJs once played a pivotal role in introducing new music to the general public. Pirate radio stations operated illegally, often from ships, to broadcast without a license in the 1960s. The first car radio was introduced by Motorola in 1930. Radio signals travel at the speed of light, which is approximately 186,282 miles per second. Digital radio offers better sound quality and more channels compared to traditional analog. Radios in aircraft play a crucial role in air traffic control and communication between pilots. The first radio news program aired in 1920 on Station 8MK in Detroit, Michigan. The first radio soap opera began in the 1930s, captivating daytime listeners. H-radio is a trademark term for digital radio broadcasting in the US. Radio waves can penetrate walls, making it possible to listen indoors even if the broadcasting station is far. The first sports broadcast on radio was a boxing match in 1921. Some animals can perceive frequencies outside the human hearing range, including some radio frequencies. The first paid radio advertisement aired on WEEF in New York in 1922. Two-way radios allow for communication in both directions, unlike traditional radios that only receive signals. The first radio commercial was for a real estate development in Queens, New York. Radio waves can be reflected and refracted, much like light waves. The radio voice became a popular term for a smooth, deep voice ideal for broadcasting. Ham radio operators use amateur radio to communicate with others globally and even with astronauts in space. The first regular radio broadcasts began in the early 1920s. The Morse code SOS distress signal became widely recognized thanks to its use in early radio communications. Radio played a key role during the Titanic disaster in sending distress signals and coordinating rescue efforts. Radio waves can interfere with other electronic devices if they are on the same frequency. Early radios used vacuum tubes, which were later replaced by transistors for better efficiency. The first radio broadcast of a presidential address was made by President Harding in 1922. By the 1930s, there were millions of radio sets in American households. Radio's popularity led to the coining of terms like tune-in and airwaves. Radios were vital tools for soldiers during wars, providing communication and entertainment. Radio signals have been used to communicate with submarines deep underwater. Radios in the early 20th century often required large antennas for better reception. The Nobel Prize in Physics 1909 was awarded to Marconi and Braun for their contributions to radio. Radio remains popular despite the rise of television, internet, and other forms of media. Radios are used in emergency situations as they can operate without electricity or cell service. Clock radios introduced in the 1940s combined the functionalities of alarms and radios for bedside convenience.